Guys, it's pasta time.
I've never made pasta before, but I did make pizza dough and bagels and breaded chicken in the last 3 days, and they all turned out really good, so I'm feeling pretty confident. This is my grain mill. This is one of the first things we purchased after our wedding, and this is my favorite thing. This is how we're gonna make the pasta today. This connects right to my KitchenAid, and the motor of the KitchenAid runs the grain mill. This thing is so cool because if you look inside, let me see if I can show you. It literally is a stone grain mill. Because growing up, we went to a lot of different historical places, and some of them had these huge millstones that back in the day they would take and like turn these giant circles to mill the grain, which I'm sure is kind of what still happens today. But it was really cool to see, and now I feel like I have my own little mini mill that's the exact same thing as that. So I feel very cool. I'm currently using this grain from the Palouse brand. I just got it on Amazon. Now this is really tasty. This is the hard white wheat. So far, like I said, I've used it to bread chicken, to make pizza crust, and to make bagels. I'm not sure how it would taste as a sweet pastry, but I am really encouraged to try that as well at some point. And although these are good grains, I've read that there is a good chance this company could use pesticides or other cleaning materials that we don't really want on our grain. I've only done a little bit of research, so I really recommend you to research for yourself if you're going to get into this as well. But basically, this company is certified for a lot of different things, but they're not certified for proving that they don't still spray the grain with any form of pesticides, which is something we don't want. So after I'm done with this, I'm definitely buying from a different company. I just put an order in for one and I'll see how good it is. But from what I saw, I think it should be pesticide free. I got the hard white wheat because I heard that is the very best one to start off with, and it is this most similar to normal wheat. So this is what we're going to be milling today. Here's my beautiful KitchenAid, such a pretty blue. So I'm just going to attach my grain mill to the very front of the KitchenAid. And I need to mill about 2 cups of this, which the nice thing about these berries is that about 1/3 cup or 2/3 cups of the berries is 1 cup of flour. So it really stretches a long way. Okay, this is gonna be kind of loud. How cool is that? This flour I now need to transfer into a little storage container. And the only reason I'm transferring it into this jar, which this flour is kind of old, it's like a day old, is because I need this bowl from my KitchenAid to actually mix the pasta. But I will say, do not store this flour for a long time. The thing with freshly milled flour, and again, please research this, and the reason why I chose to do it is because freshly milled flour contains nutrients. The grains of wheat has, I think, 48 different types of nutrients, which means you have to be eating the shell and the husk and the different parts that make up the grain, where your flour that you're going to find in grocery stores has all of that stripped. Often they bleach it, they process it in order to make the shelf life last longer so they can keep that wheat or that flour on the shelf for a long time. And then sometimes they try to add in new things. So it's called enriched flour. Okay, this is a little history lesson. So back in the day, I think it was World War II, they decided they needed their flour to last a lot longer. So they ended up stripping the flour of most of its nutrients, processing it heavily, sometimes bleaching it, so that way it could last for a long time. And back then it was pretty common to eat bread as a main source of your meal. You'd have meat and bread and vegetables. And what happened is because everyone was starting to make their bread out of this very processed flour instead of the normal flour they were used to, they started to get quite sick or skinny or just overall unhealthy, especially the soldiers. So in order to combat that, they ended up adding the nutrients that is missing from stripping the flour back into the flour, which is why you can find flour that's called enriched flour. But the nutrients that's being added back into the flour is a fake or an altered version of the actual nutrients you get from the wheat grain, and your body cannot break down that nutrients or consume it in the way it is meant to because it's fake or it's altered. This itself, these wheat berries that we just ground up here, are completely natural. Like I said, I think my version has the pesticides on it, which is not great. But it's natural. And when you grind it up, you are eating that husk and the shell and the nutrients that typically does get stripped for the shelf life. This is your natural healthy flour. And the important thing with this is that once you grind it up, it's going to start to lose its nutrients. Hence the whole shelf life problem. You have about 48 hours of like peak nutrients before you kind of just want to mill it again. So whenever you get this grain, you don't want to mill it all in one sitting. You want to mill it only when you're ready to bake with it, because baking with it, especially making things like bread, is going to help trap that nutrients in and keep it a little bit longer. Now, if you let your flour sit for more than 48 hours, it doesn't mean it's going to go bad. It just means this nutrient starts to kind of dissipate. I'm not really sure behind the science of that, but it starts to go away. So basically when you're doing this, you want to be eating the freshest milled flour you can get, which is why you want to mill it in your kitchen. But this is natural. This is delicious. I was raised for most of my life gluten-free because my mom did a lot of research on why flour is not very healthy, and she decided that that wasn't something she wanted to continue feeding her family. So she ended up going the route of almond flours, tapioca starch, banana flour, all the different types of flours, and then combining those into some incredible recipes that you wouldn't even be able to tell are not without flour in some cases. She made such good chocolate cake. She still makes really good chocolate cake. She made really good bread recipes. She got super into food science and started concocting all of her own recipes to make these replications that are so good. And I am really on board with that, but I also really wanted to experiment with proper actual gluten. So I did some research on it and I realized I don't necessarily have to go do the almond flour and the tapioca starch route. I can continue to eat natural flour, and this actually is nutrient healthy. This is kind of like the flour that was consumed in the Bible, although not quite, because this is hard white wheat, where the flour in the Bible was more like spelt or other grains. But this is quite similar, and that bread is kind of known for being compared to as life. Like Jesus himself said, "This bread is my body, eat it." He caused manna to fall from the sky, God did. Many times people would just eat bread in the desert. Like when the Israelites went off into the desert, they were told to just bring bread with them. So back then in that culture, bread had enough nutrients to be a good solid meal. Obviously, you still want your meat and vegetables. Those are so important. Those are probably more important than bread, but bread made this way, freshly milled, is enough nutrients. I just wished I could feed all of you some of this because it tastes so good. It's a little bit different, so you have to like prepare your mind for the fact it's going to be a little bit richer, but it tastes like a meadow, like a field. It's a little nutty and earthy, and it actually is delicious, especially as a pizza crust. That went over so well, and when you eat it, you feel good. Like, because I grew up pretty much gluten-free, I can tell when I eat something unhealthy because it hits me quick and it weighs in my stomach very heavy, and this doesn't do that at all. This gives me a boost of energy along with whatever I just ate. And my husband was raised not gluten-free. He was eating a lot of the processed foods, and when I give this to him too, he can tell there's a difference and he feels a lot lighter after eating it. So this is the way to go. I highly recommend, if you haven't, to do some research. I'm gonna get off my soapbox now. Like I said, I just started getting into this kind of in the last few months. So if there's any information that I got incorrect or anything that you guys know that I don't know, please put those in the comments because I'd love to learn more about this. But yeah, basically my idea is that I think the Lord has given us the knowledge of everything we need to know about how to take care of ourselves. When he gave us the earth, he said, "This is yours, and you have everything on this earth that you need to survive. Henceforth, all the nuts, the seeds, the berries, the plants are there for us to eat." And so I get really encouraged by that, to believe that everything on earth is pretty much all we need for medicine, for food, for things like that. And so I've been doing a lot more research on exactly what that looks like and how to eat kind of the way that God originally intended. Although I don't think that all processed foods are like the devil. It's just, I think it's really cool to understand that the Bible is a handbook, not just for your emotional and your spiritual guidance, but also your physical. And this has been a really fun journey that we have gone down, and I'm really excited to continue going down it. But all of that being said, we're just here for the pasta. I'm gonna pour this into my little grain container, and we're gonna start making some pasta. There's not a lot of ingredients in pasta, so in this bowl I'm going to add 3 egg yolks. Can you tell that I got one of the eggs from a farmer and the others from a grocery store? I feel like it makes such a big difference. So we're gonna do 3 egg yolks, and then 1 whole egg, so yolk and whites. And now I'm gonna do about 3 to 4 tablespoons of water. We live in the city, so we just got this water filter recently, which has been so nice. So we aren't drinking all of the city water, which is just disgusting. And then I'm going to add a teaspoon of salt. And that's pretty much all there is to it. So we're gonna go back to our KitchenAid. Here are my egg whites that we're not using. I'm gonna put these in the fridge. Okay, I'm gonna begin mixing. So now that this is mixing, we're gonna go ahead and add our flour. So I'm gonna start by adding 1 1/3 cup. We're basically having to integrate it in a little bit slower. So I'm gonna start with a cup of flour, like so. And I'm just gonna add that right into the bowl. And then I'm going to add a 1/3 cup as well. Here's what we're working with. It's looking fully combined and kind of has a wet crumble, but it's still that crumbly look. So I'm gonna go ahead and add the remaining 2/3 cups of this flour now. Okay, I think it's combined. Here's what it's looking like. It's a very thick, kind of sticky dough, and it smells so good. That's the other thing with this flour, is baking it and even just grinding it makes it smell so good in your kitchen. I just let the dough rest for about an hour, which is supposed to make it a little bit easier to work with. You can see my fingerprints in it. So it still is very dense, but it's a little less sticky now, and hopefully we can mold it a little bit better. It's pasta salad time. I got my water boiling right here. I took like a 2-hour break to crochet for my actual YouTube channel. And now we're gonna cook some pasta and turn it into a pasta salad. Here's my little pasta. Okay, it's been 7 minutes, so I'm gonna pull one out and just test it. I'm gonna go with one of the bigger ones, because if that one's not cooked, then I know that the other big ones aren't cooked. It's good. It's still a little dry in the center there, so I think I'm gonna do another like 3 minutes. So now into our bowl of kind of questionable looking but still rather tasty noodles, we are going to add all of this chicken. And now I'm gonna go ahead and add that cheese. Now I'm just gonna add a can of peas, and then I'm going to add a can of black beans. For some finer details, I added in some chopped basil, and now I'm just going to kind of drizzle the whole thing over with olive oil. This olive oil also has a ton of health benefits, and I'll just make the whole thing taste a little bit better. Now here is my giant bowl of pasta. I came over to my window to try to get better lighting, but it's honestly a dreary day and the sun's going down. Look at how delicious that looks. It was only a couple dollars to make. I am going to bake this up and put it in the fridge for lunch for my husband and myself tomorrow. I'm gonna eat some too. This looks so good. I tried a little. It tastes very good too. So this is an entire bowl of pasta salad made completely from scratch, all the way down to the noodles. There's really no better feeling than this. I'm very proud over this entire bowl. It was definitely a labor of love. And if nothing else, this video is here to encourage you to make things from scratch, but it also is here to encourage you to look into milling your own flour, because it really is a game changer. This tastes good, will feel good in your stomach, smells good, and is a fun project to make. So thank you so much for baking or cooking with me today. I have to go change now because I sat in bean water and I have to go change my shorts. But here is our homemade little pasta bowl. Thanks for making this with me. I had so much fun doing this. And I will see you again soon with more cooking, crafting, homemaking videos. So if you enjoyed this, be sure to subscribe, and I will see you soon. Bye. I wish you could try this.